basically have two of the best goalkeepers in the league. They're facing each other. This is going to be a tight defensive game, and it's going to be one mistake that dictates who wins this game and who loses this game. So I think 1-0 NYCFC. Hebed scores a goal. We win the game. Maxi Morales with the assist, and all is well in NYCFC land, and we go to the MLS finals. Welcome to the 23rd episode of the City Boys Show. We got a big one. I am hyped. What is going on? I got Danny here with me. We're recapping not Union. I mean, we're about to get into some Union, but we're recapping Inter Miami. We're recapping that Montreal game. We're back, boys. Is this deja vu right now?
It feels like deja vu, man. It's like everything that happened last year is happening all over again. Not just Philly at the semifinals, but having a really bad streak of losses, getting that momentous win. Last year was the Goody-Go. This year it was the Campeones Cup. Going on a hot streak before the playoffs, killing it in the playoffs, dominating, being down a player. I couldn't believe seeing Talis Magno out there just walking around like there's no game happening. Well, it reminded me so much of Gray. I mean, Gray at least pretended to try, but yeah, it just gave me goosebumps. I'm like, it's like we're reliving history with just a little bit less COVID.
Wow, for Philadephia Union, they have no excuse this year because they had the COVID going on for them. But we'll get into all that. Let's get into that Miami game to start off. It was electric. Fans were it felt like our best home game ever, as in terms of atmosphere. The atmosphere was insane. Everybody was into that game, and it was awesome to see.
I wasn't there, sadly. I had to travel to Atlanta for work. But was it packed? I heard it. I could hear how loud it was, but I couldn't actually see how many people showed up to the game. I heard it was like 20 plus thousand, but yeah.
It was packed. I mean, obviously it's still a baseball stadium. You have the upper deck that's empty, but we don't usually occupy that. There were some weird angles where people could show that it looked empty, but it was rocking, and they had like the towels going. The cool thing is they also let supporters put in like smoke bombs right at the field. So right when the game started, you felt the smoke bombs. Granted, I was a little worried because it could have got into like our players' vision and stuff, but it looked epic. It was awesome.
Nice. That's awesome, man. I wish I could have been there. And you know, it's good to have good history at Citi Field. A week before that, the Mets lost there, as they always do, failing at the end of the season. And last time we played at Citi Field, Matarita just let us down, and I was really scared. So that we were able to now have good vibes in Citi Field. We're probably going to be there for a few more playoff games in the future. We're making history in baseball stadiums, man.
Yeah, for sure. And just to recap that Miami game, we won 3-0. Perea's goal was nasty, so nasty. He's become a stud for our team. Maxi had the goal in the 69th minute, and then Hebed scored. Hebed is back, bro. We've been complaining about Hebed for so long, but I think Hebed is back.
I mean, no one talked about that goal after that game. It was on the 90th minute, third minute of stoppage time, so it wasn't a big thing, but it is nice to see him score goals, man. I know that he's not the most loved like striker, when we had Tati and now we're playing Magno there, but I think he's loved by the team. I think that just the fans like him as a person, and to see him scoring goals makes him happy, makes us happy, and he was huge in that win against Montreal.
Yeah, and after the Inter Miami game, we talked about. I talked to Abed after the game, and he's like, "I just love scoring goals. I love that feeling." He's like, "There's no better feeling." So it was cool to see him so excited. And even Tinnerholm, he talked about after the game. He said, I love this atmosphere so much that I even love playing at Citi Field more than Yankee Stadium, which was telling, especially because we've been talking about, oh, Queens might have a stadium. That might be where we finally we locate permanently. So it will be good to see, and I felt like for a Monday night crowd, it was rocking. So, like, maybe Queens is that stadium. I know we always wanted it to be in the Bronx, but Queens just felt right, especially that playoff game.
I mean, yeah, and I know the Miami players got lost because they thought the game was in New Jersey, but they still made it through public transportation, so they can make it. I think honestly, Queens is a good 1B option if we can't get it next to Yankee Stadium. So I'm hyped, man. I'm
For
hyped. Not
sure.
only that, but I'm also hyped at just the way they played. Like it was a dominant performance, and it's one of those games where it was like Miami was kind of they weren't super on a hot streak, but they were hot. Higuain came in, said, "I'm retiring after the season," so you got some type of like you're already playing for the playoffs, but now you got a star player who came to your team, gave it one last go. They're motivated, and NYCFC didn't give them a chance, man. And I think we really needed that type of dominant performance to do what we did in Montreal.
Yeah, for sure. So moving on to that Montreal game, I mean, I don't think any of us could have predicted what came out of that. I mean, according to the stats, it looked like Montreal was more dominant, but the way you saw the game play out, it just did not. Montreal had 18 shots versus NYCFC's 5 shots. They had 8 shots on target versus 4 shots on target, and 64 possession versus our 36 possession. But I will say the difference maker was Sean Johnson. Sean Johnson, it just shows why he was right in that contention for goalkeeper of the year. It just shows why he's so important to our team. I mean, 7 saves, and they were all very important saves. There weren't like these saves that weren't like serious ball shot at us. These really played important roles to us winning that game.
Agreed. And sometimes offline, I don't ever talk trash about Sean Johnson on the podcast because he's great and he's a fan favorite. But offline, sometimes I'm like, yo, Barasa played well, man. Maybe we should start some Barasa. But Sean Johnson in the playoffs is unstoppable. The man has come in through and through with the finals last year, with the saves this year. Sean Johnson is just the goalkeeper you want when you're in the playoffs. And if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be talking today. We'd be
Seriously.
crying.
Seriously, he played such a role. But let's get into the actual goals scored. Uh Maxi scoring in the 6th minute. Now Maxi's he scored last game, he scored this game. I actually tweeted out before the playoffs started versus Inter Miami. This may be Maxi's last run with the team. And you know who liked that tweet? Maxi
Maxi
liked
liked it.
it. So it was telling to see because it seems like Maxi's maybe saying or hinting at that this might be his final playoff run. And he's coming out dominant.
He is coming out dominant. But you know what's kind of interesting? After the win against Montreal, actually, I think they asked him about his contract. Maybe you kind of pushed that. And he did say, if it's up to me, I want to play 2 to 3 more years and I want to stay with this team. So I
Wow,
think
did
he
he?
has, yeah, he did. So I don't know I think he has an option to sign, or NYC has an option for him for a year. And then I think he has an option for 1 more year. But it sounds like he wants to stay, man. But I think he knows that there's a potential that it's going to be the end. And he's giving it all he's got, man. And I think that goal for us, between like that 6 minute goal and 45 minutes, we were not playing well. Toronto was not Toronto, my bad. Montreal was dominant. And so we needed that goal to really like hone down on because it was getting scary, man. So that
Well, I
Maxi
will
goal was
say
huge.
it did get scary, but I think it did get scary because we did lose Chanot early in that game.
That's
I
true.
forget when the minute was that Chanot came out the game, but Chanot, not Tallis, Thiago Martins and Callens are our big three in the back. So when we can't play our big three in the back, that changes everything, right? Because O'Toole's only really played on the 3-4-3. So we need to play that formation. And it seemed like when we were moving forward, we had 3 in the back, and then when we were pushing back, we had 5 in the back to really cover O'Toole and just play more defensively when they were attacking towards us. But losing Chanot, I think, really impacted that game, and yet we still overcame it.
Yeah. No, that was huge. And I mean, Well, we'll talk about the second half later, but also, what about Santi, man? Santi was fuego that game. Santi, it felt like, first of all, his assist to Hebe was perfect, and on top of that,
Unbelievable.
it was just perfect timing, the perfect pass. It's always what we expected Santi to be, like the distributor, grow into the next Maxi. And not only did he play that distributor role, but he also just was like breaking ankles and was driving down the field and was holding the ball as long as he needed to. And I thought he played and for most of the game, he didn't complain to the ref. He took the calls and he moved on. Towards the end, he got a little sloppy again with the ref, but for the majority of it, he kept his cool. That Santi man is unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about it last when we started the first playoff game. I said, "Wait, this last game when we played against Atlanta, Santi wasn't on the lineup, and I kind of like the way we played against Atlanta." Was I wrong? Santi needs to be in every game. The guy's a stud. He was so dominant against Inter Miami. He's so important to the team. The way we move the ball, it's just it's crazy how much he's become so impactful to this team. And yeah, Santi is next level. And you mentioned it. That assist to Hebed was great. Still give credit to Hebed on that run. It wasn't an easy goal. It's still something where this shows why Hebed is so talented. We need him out there. He's important. Um, but yeah,
And
Santi's been playing well.
yeah, and to kind of just harp on that, yeah, the pass was great, but the goal, we got to give Hebe credit for it because, I love a lot of our players, but I've seen that same pass and I've seen Talas and Santi and even Pereira sometimes miss those goals. And that's just where Hebe specializes in, man. He does not let those goals go. When he is that close to the box, he will score. And so I just love when he's in that position because it's really where he succeeds.
Yeah, and Habed after the game said like, "Hey, look, I'm not here by accident. Like, I still bring quality to this team." And yeah, he gave credit to Tati for last year, and because he was still not fully healthy, but he brings value to this team, and I think we've kind of underplayed it. And I think this is what the front office saw this whole time. They said, "Hey, if he has the right quality players around him, if he could just finish, that's all we need him to do, right?" And these past playoff games, this is what we wanted from him. So if everything's working around him, he's gonna fit right into that spot and he's gonna score those goals.
Yeah, I mean, I still think his like linkage game and like distributing when he's there and kind of holding the ball and playing with the rest of the right wing and left wing isn't really there yet. And I don't know if it'll ever get there. Honestly, it's a little bit on the older side. But I think with Talis Magno out, I don't think he's going to play the next game either. He does need to step it up and do what he does best, and not make him do too much that he can't do, and let him do what he does well. Because I think that is where he will do well. If he ends up trying to, waste his stamina, trying to press, trying to play a Tati style, or even trying to play a false nine where he's going his back as Talis Magno did, I don't know if he can be as successful. So maybe, and it looks like Cushing has realized that and is putting him in a place where he can succeed. And then pushing more with Santi and Pereira and Maxi. So I think that's working well. And while Magno's out, we got to keep that going.
Yeah, agreed. Let's get into the next goal. Talis Magno. Well, it was set up by Gabriel Pereira, and Gabriel Pereira, we've complimented him so many times already, but he's just he keeps showing his talent. I forget who dished the ball to him, but it was a beautifully transition ball where he then got the penalty and the foul on the goalkeeper and inside the box. And I think one thing I would say is important is we Tati used to be our penalty kicker. And that was because we've seen Maxi time and time again miss penalty kicks. So to see Talis Magno be able to score those, I think it's monumental because we don't know what's going to happen this next game against Philadephia Union. And we need to make sure we have a damn penalty kicker who's ready to actually take those.
You know what? I gotta say though, I was a little stressed out when they put Magno out there. I was kind of hoping GP went for it. Magno doesn't really have the strength in that kick, and he didn't use strength to do that. He just used what Magno does best, which is a skill. to make the goalie flinch, goalkeeper flinch.
Yeah.
But
No,
but
it's a
but
good
I don't
point.
know
It
if the penalty kick happens again next game. You want Talas Magno out there? I was sad that Hebed just got subbed out of the game because I would have preferred Hebed go for that penalty kick.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think bed number one talisman. I don't know because Pereira showed he's got skill, but we haven't seen Pereira take a penalty kick. I don't think we've seen it, have we?
No, bro, but that guy's got like a rocket. I think even if a goalie tried to stop it, he'd break his hand and it'd still be a goal.
True.
GP's just a beast, bro.
No, yeah, his leg is ridiculous. Um, but yeah, so it'll be interesting to see who does take a penalty kick if we end up in that situation. Hopefully we don't. I think we'd prefer not to. Montreal scored an 85th minute goal. I don't think it was. I think it was a throwaway goal. At that time, was Talis Magno out?
Talas Magno, I think, was doing his thing where he was physically and mentally out, but was still on the field.
Gotcha.
Scott's barely it up.
Okay, so I mean, it was a consolation goal. Who cares? But we got the W, and that's what's most important. I think we had a pretty good away crowd, as I mean, supporter section actually go out there, which is crazy. You heard them.
You heard the chants. It was
Yeah,
amazing.
it was awesome to see. And I actually wanted to talk about this. So I went to the watch party, and Ian Paul Joy was there. And me and Ian Paul Joy were kicking it. We were talking a little bit, and then I asked him, so do you think Nick Cushing has done enough at this point? And that was before the game to earn that head coach position. And he said, and then Ian Paul Joy said, "Yeah, I think he's done enough." And he's like, if he makes it past the Eastern Conference Final, I mean, how could you say that he shouldn't deserve it? You know what I mean? So something along those lines. I think it's important for us to say, hey, maybe Nick Cushing has earned it. What do you think? Do you think he's earned that title?
Yeah. I in my opinion, even if we lose this game, Nick Cushion deserves another year. At least. I mean, the only thing is if Buzz was here, he'd be yelling at me off that I've been dying for Cushing to stay since like even midway through the losing streak because he thinks I'm a fanboy. But I truly believe he took a team that just lost its striker, just lost its coach, he didn't know what formation to go with. He kept playing what he needed, and that he's been able to turn this team around, get on this hot streak, put in a new formation, and make it as successful as he has. Cushing deserves another year, regardless if we win this game or not, in my opinion. Um, what about you? What do you
No, no,
think?
I agree. I completely agree. I think he's done enough. I mean, we've talked. I think the fans have chirped a lot. I think we've all said bad things, but at the end of the day, he's done enough to earn this position. And I think some people were saying, "Oh, why don't maybe he'll just stay as an interim until he proves more next year?" But I really don't think there's anything else to prove. I mean, he even implemented this 3-4-3 formation that the team wasn't very familiar with because we weren't playing that before, and it's finally gelled and it's finally come to fruition. So I think he has done enough, which is pretty awesome just to see the transition of uh, a lot of pressure on him, and then to go out and have a beer with a couple fans after a game because things have been going so well. So it's crazy to see.
And I know everyone wants to give the credit to the front office signing Pellegrini, but I really think it's Cushing that's turned it around, not the signing of Pellegrini.
One thing I will say is Nick Cushing is always trolling us in these press conferences. He's like, "I might change the formation. I don't know who's playing," and then it's just like, "Come on, man."
He's like Talis Magno, fully healthy, ready to go. Racha, he's playing. Date, yeah, we got him. We're playing him for this game. He's just be lying in those press
Well,
conferences.
I wouldn't say lying, but yeah, he's lying. But one thing I will say is that Nick Cushing has also been going with the same lineup every playoff game, and I verified that. So he has been going with the same lineup. So it's interesting to see, will he be able to go with the same lineup against Philadelphia Union because we have injuries? But if everybody's fully healthy, do we expect that same lineup? So if we look at the lineup that he's been going with, it's Johnson, Tinnerholm, Chanot, Thiago Martins, Callens, Hebed, Morales, Santi Rodriguez, O'Toole, Acevedo, and Perea. When we go into Philadelphia, is that the lineup that we want? Do you agree with that lineup? Do you think that should be our starting lineup?
I think so. I mean, the only hesitation that I have is, do we start Parks? But who do we replace? Kacha? Like, we need that defensive player because Maxi pushes up. And I think starting Parks over Kacha, I'm not sure. And Kacha's been playing a lot. He's been playing well. So I'm not sure if I'm ready to make that replacement. But for the exception of that, where I'm a little hesitant on, I think you got to start with the squad.
No, I agree. I mean, you don't the saying is don't break what don't what's the saying? Don't fix what's
No, you're
broken.
right. You're right. Don't break what's broken. I'm
No, that's not. All right, we're horrible with sayings. But the point is it's working. And I think that last game we didn't against Atlanta, we didn't have Santi Rodriguez. So Park started the game. But now we know Asante is needed out there. He's one of our superstars. We cannot have him not in the lineup. So maybe Parks gets a nod in the 45th minute after halftime, and he comes in. The only thing I would say is Maxi couldn't play the full 90 minutes last game. So he might not even be able to start, or he can only start for 45 minutes, and then he'll have to be subbed out.
And I think at that point it's a great time to put in Parks,
Yeah,
right? I
exactly.
think so. I think that works well. I actually don't know if Chanot is ready to start.
Oh yeah, we don't even know if that's the case. And if Chanot doesn't start, do we still go to 3-4-3? We don't know because who we're only so good on the 3-4-3 with those big three in the back.
That's true. I mean, Hack did a good job playing that spot for him when they came back out after halftime. But I don't know if that's like Canadian air because he plays well in Canada, or if we can continue that. Or maybe Hack just played so well because Chanot was the best assistant coach I've ever seen in a game. So I'm out there,
Oh
assistant
yeah,
coach slash
yeah,
cheerleader.
Chanot was all over the field. He's like, "Let's go." Somebody was saying like, maybe Chanot gets the head coach job next year. No, well, one thing it could warrant is does Amundsen start? Because we haven't seen Amundsen start in a while, and then maybe you go back to the four in the back. I don't want to see that, but if Chanot can't get the start, then I don't know. That three in the back scares me if it's not the main three that we know. I feel comfortable. Well, that's working. That has been working.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we get Chanel back. Because I think Amundsen hasn't played, man, and to bring him out there in this big game against this big team, this might not be the right time to make that switch.
Yeah. So let's get into this Philadelphia game. This is the rematch of last year. Everybody called it like the COVID game because they lost so many players. Even though the Hudson River Blue actually did a tweet that was like, "You didn't really lose that many players from your starting 11." Even though, so they're saying it's not that big of a deal. But let's look at Philadelphia this year. Their coach Jim Curtin won Coach of the Year. Their goalkeeper Andrew Blake, Goalkeeper of the Year. They won Defender of the Year with Jacob Glesnes. They're pretty stacked. They've been dangerous this whole season, and they were very close to winning the Supporters Shield as well. What are our keys to actually winning this game?
Yeah, no, I one is, and then this sounds kind of dumb, but I think it's true, is scoring goals. Um, and I don't know how to phrase that better, but
Thank you
like
for your in-depth analysis.
if we score more goals than the other team, I believe we could win the game, is my analysis. Uh, but I guess what I'm saying is like Blake is a great goalie. Do I think he's better than Sean Johnson? No. I think Sean Johnson lost goalkeeper of the year because we went through a really bad slump. And like if you think about it, he would have tied for goals for clean sheets if Thiago Martins, sorry to bring that back, didn't give that own goal. And so I think Sean Johnson is the better goalie. And so I think Sean Johnson keeps being him. We can, keep the game close. But I do think that our biggest issue, which hasn't been in the playoffs, but just has been in general, is scoring goals. When we try to finish, our finishing hasn't always been there, and now we're playing against goalkeeper of the year, defender of the year, and can we kind of break? Can we get past our own limitations and score those goals to win the game? Because I think we have the talent. I think they have a lot of great coaching, and I think they have a solid squad, but just natural raw talent, I still think we're the better team.
No, I completely agree with you. And if we look about, and you said about scoring, we've scored the most goals in these playoffs. Granted, some teams have played less games than us, but regardless, we scored 6 goals, and I think the closest other team might be 3 or 4. So we've scored the most goals during these playoffs. Maxi Morales broke the record for the team, and he's the all-time top scorer in the MLS Cup playoffs with 4 goals in total. So these guys have shown that we have the scoring ability, and we're on a hot streak. We've been winning. We've won 6 in a row. We're a more dominant team than it's always about how hot you are going into the playoffs. And if we looked at that Cincinnati game versus Union, they didn't look that sharp. They didn't look like this team that was so dangerous that we had to really be worried about it. So what I think is momentum is key when it comes to MLS playoffs. And I think Nick Cushing even said anything could happen in these playoffs. But it seems like when you have the momentum going your way, then that makes the world of a difference. And our team has the momentum going our way. So I think that's gonna be the key, momentum and the way we've been playing. One thing I will say is Bedoya has he might be making a return, so he's dangerous. We already know that what's his name? Who's the other guy? Uh Daniel, right? Tied for second golden
Yeah,
boot.
yeah,
Yeah. He scored 22 goals this year, so he's dangerous.
yeah.
So this team is a solid squad, and it's gonna be tough. But I think we have enough to make a difference and actually win this game.
And I also think our defenders are just more talented than their offensive players, right? Bedoya doesn't start, or Bedoya is not in form. I mean, Callan, Chanel, Thiago Martins, we're just amazing back there.
Yeah, and look, this was last year. Danny was waving to the fans goodbye. Danny was going hard last year.
They were so mad. You can't tell, but that guy was flicking me off, and all I was saying was "Bye, I love you," and they were not having it. Oh my god, just looking at this video is giving me goosebumps,
Oh
man. What a
man, the
great
vibes
time.
last year were so good. It was so momentous, and it's been tough. So we didn't get the lottery tickets this year, unfortunately. I know a lot of fans haven't gotten them, but just being out there was so good.
Yeah, and hopefully we can still make the game. We either buy some tickets or we go as press. But the goal is to make it to the game, bro. I think this is on repeat. I think you might
No,
have to.
no, no. It's still going, bro.
Oh, it's a super. I thought it was that guy flicking me off a second time,
No, no, no. That's a new
but
fan flicking you off, bro.
I
This
don't think it's flicking. Actually, I think it's flipping.
Oh, flipping you off? Oh, yeah, you're right, you're right. This was us very happy. For the podcast, we're showing pictures of us, me, Buzz, and Danny. We were very happy after the game winning. Then Danny got his favorite picture with Medina.
I
Is
miss
there
you,
any updates
Medina.
to Medina?
He's still in Russia, and luckily he's not in jail, so that's a good thing. Athletes in Russia sometimes make it there, so it looks like he's still playing well.
All right, well, that's good. Let's look at the betting lines. We don't have betting with Buzz today, unfortunately. We have betting with Danny because there is no Buzz. Danny, give us some lines. What's going on?
All right, boys. I try to do my best Buzz impersonation. Let's see if we can make this happen. So we got Philly is the favorite at -125. And NYCFC is getting a lot of hate here, man. Plus 290 for the NYCFC win, plus 270 for the draw. And over 2.5 is -128.
Yo, so
Buzz,
they've
sorry.
been Oh, keep going. My bad, my bad. Go,
No,
go.
I was gonna say Buzz, because he's an idiot, will never go against NYCFC, even though the odds are stacked against us. But he's also a fanboy, and that's why we do the show. But put your money on NYCFC plus 290. Look, I think it was almost plus 290 against Montreal too. And we end up making money, boys, especially Buzz. Buzz went ham.
So I don't know if you can see, guys, but if you can see, Buzz bet $300, and the total payout for last week was $1,000 to that. So Buzz definitely went ham, and he definitely won some money, which is crazy. So that was plus 250, and now this was plus 290. So this is insane. It's crazy to see that we're such dogs when we're the MLS champs. It's kind of insane. But the amount of disrespect is, it's gonna hurt them.
Bulletin board material, man. Although half of the people can't read English on our team, it's still bulletin board material, and we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it happen, man. And that's another interesting thing is that I think it was Hudson River Blue, and it was also the coach of Philly, where it's like Philly's always playing the victim. No one likes us. We're the worst. We're not really supposed to be here. But now they're the favorite, and they don't even know how to play this. Right? They struggled last week. And now we're the dogs. We got nothing to lose in this game, and we've been killing it. So I kind of just want to go back to what you were saying, that I think we have the momentum, and I feel like we've struggled so much this season, and Philly hasn't. And I know they're saying, "Oh, we struggled that last game, so we're ready for struggle," but I don't think they are. And I think we've come through some really tough times this year, have lost some really key players, and we're hot at the right time. And I think that's really going to get us that plus 290 money.
I cut you off, bro.
That's all right. It was actually a bad bet now that I think about it.
Let's get into final prediction. So what's your final score for that game?
I think it's going to be a close one. I think it's going to be a stressful one. I think it's going to be NYCFC 1-0. What about you, homie?
I'm gonna have to back you up on that, because we basically have two of the best goalkeepers in the league. They're facing each other. This is gonna be a tight defensive game, and it's gonna be one mistake that dictates who wins this game and who loses this game. So I think 1-0 NYCFC. Hebed scores a goal. We win the game. Maxi Morales with the assist, and all is well in NYCFC land, and we go to the MLS finals.
Let's go! That got me hyped. I know we don't talk other MLS teams really, but want to get your prediction on the LAFC Austin FC game. Who do you think is going to win it?
I mean, if I had a preference, I think I want to see Austin play, just because if we do make it, I want to make the road trip to Austin.
That'll be awesome.
But I've always kind of also pictured an NYCFC versus LAFC finals. So I mean, both ways would be awesome if we make it. If we don't make it, I don't care. Philadephia Union just has to lose, and I'll let LAFC or Austin win it. I would like to see Austin win it all if we don't make it.
Agreed. I'm Austin FC. I actually have always wanted to visit Austin, so this gives me a good excuse to go. And Blue City Radio, a couple months ago, my prediction was we'd get 57 points by the end of the season. We ended with 56. It was going to be NYCFC versus Austin for the finals. I'm one game away from making that true. And on that show, I bet $100 live that we would win the championship. And FanDuel's telling me to cash out. They're up to plus 240, but if I stay in it, I win $1,700. So we sticking into it,
bro.
boys.
Stay in it.
And then drinks on the City Boy show in Austin when we win it all.
That'll be epic.
I'm so hyped, man. This game is so big. We're gonna be in Philly no matter what. We're gonna make it happen. We hope to see you guys out there. It'll be great. I'm hyped.
Guys, if you like the show, please like, comment, subscribe. Danny, any final words? I'm hyped. We're both hyped. We're gonna be at the Philadephia game some way, somehow. We'll probably fall asleep on the way back home. We have to figure it out, but it's gonna be an epic game, and I think this is what we came to see. I mean, I think this might be one of the most exciting MLS playoffs, especially for us.
Yeah, no, super excited. I know we slacked on a couple episodes. Life has happened, but we're back on it. We're excited to be back. We're full steam ahead, and hopefully this team is too, man. And we'll be there. Love you guys.
Later. Peace.
Peace. Like,